Tiger Woods on the first tee of the United States Open. He's got driver in hand. Takes it back.
Get in the hole!
Oh, useful shot! Hi, everybody. I'm here to talk to you about golf today. Have you ever played golf? Have you ever wondered why people are so obsessed with it? Have you ever thought that maybe it's just for old people? Well, no. Golf is for everybody. Golf is the greatest game ever played because it is the direct reflection of a man. I hope to prove that to you today and to answer these questions and many more. But first, let me give you a brief history on the game. According to A Brief History of Golf, it was first accredited to the Scottish. And it is at least 550 years old. And we know this because James II of Scotland signed a bill in Parliament in 1457 that banned the game of golf in that year because it was interfering with the archery tournaments of that country. It was first played by shepherds who, when they got bored tending their sheep, they would hit rocks into holes with their staffs. Now, the objectives of golf are simple. You try to get a little ball in a little hole in as little amount of shots as possible, varying the club you use depending on how close or how far away from the hole you are. And at the end, the person with the lowest score or the least shots is deemed the winner of the match. Now, golf has come a long way since then, and it has evolved. According to the USGA historical profile, in 1894, the United States Golf Association, the USGA, was established in America. And from that have come the four major golf tournaments: the Masters, the US Open, the British Open, and the PGA Championship. All four of those are now four of the world's greatest sports spectacles today. Now that you know a simple history and the objectives of the game, I will move into the strict set of rules that the game adheres to. According to the USGA rulebook, there are 34 set rules in golf with over 100 subsections for each rule. If you do the math, that's over 1,000 decisions that could possibly be made in the game of golf. No matter what level of golfer you are, pee-wee, high school, collegiate, or professional, you're all called to adhere to the same rules. I know this from experience because in high school I was disqualified from a tournament for hitting the wrong ball. Sure, it was silly for me to do so, and it was justified, but that just goes to show that a 15-year-old and Phil Mickelson are all called to the same standards on the rule book. But the cool thing about golf is the unique etiquette rules that the game adheres to. According to the USGA Etiquette Book 101, I've picked out 3 etiquette rules that I think you'll like to know. The first one is the spirit of the game. Golf is a gentleman's game. Not in terms that only men can play it. We all know women can. But in terms that we're all called to honesty. There's no referees, there's no umpires, and normally it's just you out there playing. And even then are you called to a strict integrity. And you're called to hold your opponents to that same integrity. The second one is consideration for others. There shouldn't be any unnecessary disturbances or distractions on the course, especially while opponent is swinging. For instance, don't let your shadow rest on the player's ball. Don't let any electronic devices go off in his backswing. That's a huge one. Every device should be silenced, if not even brought out on the course, especially in a tournament. And a rule that I think is interesting to know, it's called the honors rule. Whoever wins the previous hole tees off first on the next hole. It might seem petty, but it's actually a very strict rule in golf. The third one is care of the course. The cool thing about golf is that most of the courses are extremely beautiful, and everyone wants to keep them that way. So please respect every surface of the golf course, whether it's the greens, the sand traps, the fairways, or the rough. For example, don't drive a golf cart on the green. Don't set your bag on the green. Don't run around in the hazards or in the ponds. But the big one is don't cause any unnecessary damage to the golf course out of anger. What do I mean by this? I mean by hitting a bad shot and then slamming your club down, which is a big dent in the course. Not only does it show your weakness, but someone else has to fix that. And it makes the golf course not as beautiful as it was before. So now you know the logistics, you know the etiquette, you know the rules, and it doesn't sound like a very fun sport to play because there's a lot of stuff to go by. So I'm going to tell you now how to have fun at golf. And the simple answer to that is to be good at golf. How do you become good at golf? Well, there's many many varieties and solutions of how you can do this, but here's some that have helped me in the past. The first one is that it might not seem like it, but golf is physically demanding. Not like football and basketball, of course, but it is physically demanding in terms that it takes extreme endurance and power to be good at the game. An average golf round is 18 holes, which can last from 4 to 4.5 hours. And if it's extremely hot outside, that can be a tough thing to do, so endurance is necessary. So therefore, a golfer must have some endurance training in the form of biking, swimming, or running. Power, lifting weights is important in golf because the more power you have, the more workability you have with the golf ball. And it's pretty cool to be able to hit the golf ball farther than your opponent. Practice. Practice makes perfect. We've all heard it. And in golf, it's repetition, repetition, repetition. Golf swing is the same fluid movement over and over and over again. So that's why repetition is important. Now, through that repetition, you learn patience. And patience is extremely big in golf, which leads into my next point, is the mentality of golf. A golfer must be mentally tough. The mental part of the game is way more important than the physical part. And if you get the mental part, I promise the physical part will follow. Here's 3 suggestions that have helped me in the years. The first one is the golfer must have a short memory. No matter how good or how bad you played on the previous hole, you got to forget about it. Because no matter how good or bad it was, it will affect your performance on the next hole, whether you know it or not. Second one is emotional stability. A golfer tends to get too high when he does something good or too low when something bad happens. So your emotions rise and lower, big fluctuation. So you need to have that emotional stability line, that no matter how good or bad you're playing, you stick to that. The third one is cliche, but it's the sky is the limit. And every golfer must have that mentality, that the sky is truly the limit for his game. You can never stop improving. You can never stay stagnant. There's always room for improvement in the game. So if you stick to these 3 mental processes, the physical part of the game will follow. The history of golf is cool. It's old. It's Scottish. Something that we're not used to. The rules of golf are intense, and everyone is called to adhere to them, and they're strict. The etiquette makes it unique and fun. But golf is the greatest game ever played because it is a reflection of a man's soul. If you cheat in golf, you'll most likely cheat in life. And if you cannot handle adversity on the golf course, you won't be able to handle it in life either. My grandfather left me with this quote a few years ago from The Quotable Golfer, a book that's very popular in my family. And it is, how well can you stay steady? How well can you keep the plateau of emotion? You must master the emotion and not let the emotion master you. Train yourself. As humans, we are prone to making mistakes, so take pride in being emotionally resilient and mentally tough. So again, I ask, is golf the reflection of a man? I think it is. That's why I love golf, and that's why I wanted to tell you about it. Thank you very much.